Hey, I want to show students how to use some important punctuation marks for their upcoming research paper. I uploaded this punctuation handbook to Brightspace as a PDF. You can see I did it 3 times, so I really cleaned it up. This is a very good handout, I think. It explains all the punctuation marks available and gives examples of them. So you can download it from Brightspace and put it on your phone or your computer or both. You might even want to print it up. That way you'll have access to how to use all the punctuation marks accurately. I think it's an important part of writing. So anyway, when it comes to writing a research paper, when you quote somebody else's idea, you have to wrap that person's idea in quotation marks, but there are times when you may want to add some of your own words inside that other person's words. When you do that, you have to wrap your words inside a square bracket. Now let's look at this. Brackets, square brackets, not round parentheses. These are square brackets. No, the rule is number 1, they present clarifying comments inside quoted material. For example, Dr. Smith said the problem of controlling insects arose during the growth of corporate farms. So, of controlling insects is what the author of the research paper wrote, not Dr. Smith. Also, Roger Ebert insisted that film, The Tin Drum, should win the Oscar. Roger Ebert only says that film should win the Oscar. So if you want to add some clarifying material as to what film specifically it is, you can add it, The Tin Drum, but add it inside square brackets. Why? This is these are your words. It's called an interpolation or editorializing. That's the technical term for it. But the basic idea is that if you pull somebody's quote off of a website or from a book and add it to your research paper, and it's not complete or it's not worded well, you can always add your own words to it. Just make sure that your words are inside square brackets. So you may find that helpful. Also, in the same way, but in converse, the ellipsis mark allows you to eliminate some words in somebody else's sentence that you don't like. The ellipsis mark is 3 periods right next to each other. Rule number 1, it indicates omitted words inside quoted material. For example, the report explained, comma, drivers, ... must become comfortable with wearing seatbelts. So the report says drivers, blah, 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 must become comfortable wearing seatbelts. But if you don't like the words here, you can get rid of them. Just put 3 periods in their place. The 3 periods indicate omitted words. Okay? Second example, the report concluded, comma, the elderly cannot afford prescription drugs, ... 4 dots, the new sentence, therefore they stay sick much longer than other people. Add a 4th period for omitted words at the end of a sentence to include the period. So I think you'll find this helpful. I use them both all the time. I use square brackets and the ellipsis mark, 3 periods, inside my quoted words from other people whenever I write a research paper or do any kind of a report. Why? It allows me to clean up the flow of words. Bullet point number 1 at the bottom here. Use the ellipsis marks only inside quoted material. They have no use outside quoted material. Never use an ellipsis mark at the beginning of a quote. It is not needed, etc. Anyway, you can read all of these instructions on how to use punctuation marks in the punctuation handbook, and I hope you do. We're all italicizing type by now, I believe. Italicize the title of a book. It's going to look good. Also, I put in the punctuation mark how to use quotation marks properly. I give the rules and a bunch of bullet points and a bunch of examples. These can be a little bit tricky sometimes, but all of the good answers are listed here. Read this twice if you want to be able to use quotation marks in your research paper properly. There's one more thing I wanted to point out here, though, that I think is very attractive. The dash. Instead of using a hyphen, which looks like hell, start using an M dash and an N dash. That's the name of them. Dashes are used examples here, but here the M dash has the width of the letter M and is used with no space before and after. On Windows PCs, you can find it insert M dash, I think in Word. On the Mac, you can use Shift Option plus hyphen key stroke. The N dash has the width of the letter N and is half the size left of used with one space before and after. The double hyphen looks unprofessional. Now here's an example in Word. Their new product, dash, as opposed to their last product, works better. Now this dash is an N dash, and if we just use the hyphen, you see how it looks like hell. It looks unprofessional. So let's replace this with an M dash, and the way to do it in Microsoft Word is in Insert, Advanced Symbols, Insert Advanced Symbols. It's a symbol, so go to the Insert menu, drop-down menu, go to Symbols, and you'll see there's a bunch of stuff here. Here is the M dash. Double-click it. It's put in there, and we'll put an M dash over here too. Well, actually, we should have no space in here. So the M dash looks good without a space before and after, so the dash is touching the words. Now let's redo that with an N dash. N dash is right next to it. It's the width of the letter N. There's the N dash. Double click it, space after, and space, N dash, double click. It will insert it. That's an N dash. Looks pretty good. It looks professional. You know, there's a book out there called The Computer is Not a Typewriter. So start using the available tools inside the computer and make your documents look professional, like a printed book. That's what it's there for. Everybody has the greatest printing device in the history of printing on your computer. Therefore, use it, okay? Don't use those hyphens anymore. Now, at the bottom here, I have an example of what is this? A line. For your resumes coming up, it might help to put in some professional printer's marks or professional typography marks in your resume to make you look good. I've always liked this line in between something in a resume. So if John Smith is an architect, he's putting a resume out as that. Where do we find that line? It's in here somewhere. There it is. And you can see that looks pretty good. John Smith, line, architect. Let's get rid of that and put another one of my favorites, a midpoint. That's here, a midpoint. It's a dot. It's like a period, but in the middle of the letter as opposed to the bottom. John Smith, architect. So that midpoint and the line looks good for your resumes coming up, but also use the N dash and the M dash. It'll make your printing look professional, along with the italics. There's small caps up there too. I don't know where small caps are. We'll have to look for that. But small caps do look very good. But anyway, master your punctuation marks and make your papers look good. It's going to make you feel good. It's all about putting your best face forward.